From downtown Scranton, this is Northeast Current. WQPX invites you to join us as we explore public affairs, current events, and arts and culture in northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Now let's meet today's guests on Northeast Current.
Welcome to Northeast Current for this week. I'll be your host once again, Rock and Roll, and this week we'll be interviewing one of Scranton's most accomplished citizens, Mr. Joe Van Wee. How you doing this morning, Joe?
I'm doing good, Rock and Roll.
Excellent, man. I've been waiting a long time to meet you. I really have. I was kind of embarrassed because I didn't know that you had moved to Scranton. Did this happen when the whole thing with Forge came about?
Right after Forge, I was in the Citizens Bank building in Wilkes-Barre, and we were a company called Revere then, Revere Pictures. I'd say 2009, we signed the lease here and came here, and then became JVW Inc.
Okay, all right. So I remember I did some stuff with The Weekender and you guys filmed it. You were located in Wilkes-Barre at that time?
Absolutely.
All right, so I wanted to talk to you about Forged. I had done a little research on it last night, and I know the story. I wanted to know, how did you come up with that story? How did you put that whole thing together and bring it to fruition?
I think I'm still asking myself that question. It was probably one of the harder shoots I've ever done.
Really?
It was terrible.
The subject matter was very serious.
Yeah, you know, the director, Will Wettig, finished the script with Manny Perez, and I really liked the content. Right before pre-production, when I signed on as an executive producer, bought the script, it really reminded me of like the movies I grew up with on Cinemax, or those obscure like John Sayles movies, just harsh content, forgiveness, all these esoteric ideas set in a really hard environment. And Scranton, not that it's a hard environment, we were able to pick shots of all the...
So that kind of goes back to your torment over delusion philosophy.
Yeah.
I was investigating that a little bit last night, and I think I get it a little bit. You're saying in so many words that the struggle to overcome is what drives you more than the fantasy part of the whole thing?
Yeah, I would say that's a quote maybe I stole in different words, but I think suffering's always better than delusion. Some people might disagree, but I'd rather not have an answer than pretend I did. Okay. And take the torment over that. That leaves life a little more interesting and exciting because you could always change your mind from better information.
We were talking right before we started the show, and you were saying you were born and raised here, huh? Born and raised Scranton,
huh? Absolutely, yeah.
Went to high school out in West Scranton, huh?
Not West Scranton. I went to grade school in West Scranton at St. Pat's till 4th grade, and then we moved to Southside, and then I went to school there, and then I went to school in Green at St. Paul's, and then I was hell on wheels in high school. I think I went to all of them.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Spent some time in New York, in film school in New York, and doing some things?
Not film school, bars mostly, but I was a philosophy major in high school.
So you've also had a couple of different businesses, I see. What was with the vitamins? What was going on with that?
Just a pirate at sea. There was an opportunity, and then I was involved in that. I'm no longer. I sold my shares, but I have an ad agency, so sometimes there's lateral business opportunities, and I'll take them. I've always liked business as much as I like film.
All right. Now, I heard you were a juggler. So...
A juggler? No, it might have been a lie. I could juggle 2 balls, but I can't juggle 3.
All right. I seen that. I couldn't find another one. I was searching the house. I couldn't find 3 balls this morning.
That's funny you said that. You know what we do? I lie, not lie. Anytime we're in a print, I'll put one thing that's inaccurate in there to see if they source it, and they never do. I've been from Hanover in an article, Nanticoke, New York, from Scranton. Yeah. Well, let's see if these guys can't be sourcing material. So we'll throw something in there, and it always prints. I think one time I said I was a juggler. I can't juggle.
All right, good. I was ready to see that. We were fully prepared to see that. Now, I was very interested also in the lawsuit that you won.
Sure.
What was some of the details with that? What was that all about?
What it was, and this is common in independent filmmaking, your back-end payment won't come, regardless if the film made money or if it even didn't. You'll never get a proper accounting. And it's an old taboo to go after a distributor in Los Angeles. Well, we're from Scranton. A fight's a fight to me. I don't care. If I don't live in LA, you pick a fight with me, we fight back. So we won a judgment for $4.1 million on the back end of Forge. And that's still going on now because it's a complex case. You have to go after the parent company that took the money. But this is very common for a hard-working, like independent filmmaker. Will did a great job, and I was just tired of seeing that you had to eat crow for your first 2 films while somebody else made money out of something you worked. And I said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go after the money. Okay, so besides that lawsuit, have you recouped $1 off what you spent to make the film? It's beginning to happen now, slowly in payments and coming to terms and a deal with the parent company. Okay. We should have early on, but this, like I said, there was 50 other films with that distributor that happened, and this is really common. You really don't make money or control the apparatus until you're in the studio system or you've had a big hit film. I wasn't going to, I didn't want that to be our situation. I didn't think we had to have that situation. I asked that question because I wanted to give some of the amateur filmmakers out there a real view of what goes on. Like you said, the delusion can sink in. A lot of people think they can just make it. Now, I wanted to ask you about the Pennsylvania Film School. Is that still going on? Yeah, the Pennsylvania Film School is a private LLC, and we started that to just do seminars because when I first got interested in film was early on, but like the technical aspect, it was hard to learn that unless you were on set and just observed and kept your mouth shut and like just figuring out what is this all about. So we did a seminar that kind of took a blue-collar approach to making films. Like, let's take away the passion, which is usually the opposite of a seminar. We can't give you passion. You're going to have to find that out by yourself. What I could tell you what to do is how passion breaks down to a day-to-day schedule. Okay. And so we did that, and it was a success. And then we partnered with EOTC and Arts Engaged and went into the public school system here in Lackawanna County and taught a film course. And we treated it like a project. The kids got a chance to either be a grip, director, cameraman, a producer. And we made their alma mater into a music video, and then distribution was the principal. If the principal liked it, we could show it on class day, and that's how we would sell our film. So we broke the whole class down project base, got rid of the books, got rid of the rows, made a half moon, and we had production meetings every day until we went into production. Soup to nuts, the kids made their own project. I think that's a better way to learn. And they're very savvy. Their books are antiquated. It pains me to see some of the schools around here with no money. When we brought in iPads, we brought in the iMacs, we taught them how to edit, and it was exciting. And you forget how much you know until you're teaching an 8th grade kid. I'm like, I forgot how I learned that. Right. Oh, that's awesome. They were great. So, I mean, to come from where you came from, there's a lot of kids here probably in the same position you were in at. Oh, yeah. Who inspired you? Who were some of the people that were the inspiration to stick to it? Because that's the hardest thing for a lot of kids, especially with the distractions. You didn't have the distractions kids have now with the video games and so much other stuff to do. Who were the people that kept their foot in your butt and kept you on point? It's like life's so relative. My heroes probably changed every 5 years, and the first heroes that motivated me are the people around you. The interesting guys, long hair, tattoos. I grew up in a rougher side, a west side. Right. So they were the interesting people. Like, they were the people I wasn't learning about. Well, what are they all about? You're writing stories in your head even there, right? My first heroes were villains because I didn't understand them. You're being taught one thing all day, and then after school you're seeing the people that are getting respect were, bad people. Okay. So they were the first time that I was interested in stuff like that. But my heroes have pretty much been really close. You have to really know them. And it's like learning about history. I've had heroes when I was a kid, but they changed dramatically as you do a little more research. The guys that inspire me, I don't know, seem to be willing to lose everything to get one thing done. There's something American and obsessive and just crazed about it. I'd imagine in this business, in film, you probably, I'm into music, and it's probably one of the greasiest, grimiest businesses. So is it like that? Is film like that times 10? For an independent filmmaker, absolutely. Really? Yeah. The great thing, film is so transcendent in the sense, if you know this you're working on a great project, you just comb through that sea of slime, dealing with the business aspect, because when you sit and watch your film for the first time, or a film you worked on, you realize you transcended all that like mud to get there. You want to do it again.
Wow. Yeah.
So we lucked out with a couple films because we had no idea if they were going to be good. I thought I was ruining my life when I was making Forge.
Well, I was going to ask you, would you consider Forge your biggest success?
I don't want to, but I would have to.
Just basically the amount of awards, the table full of awards out there.
I got the most notoriety out of it, so it torments you after a couple of years that you want to do something else because it gets stale.
Now, are there fees to submit to those bigger? What are we talking about? In what area? For
Yeah, that's something that you're not really taught either. Like when you're learning about film, you got a budget. Your budget ran out. Now, the first part of the budget running out, the headaches you would deal with is post. You realize, oh, we didn't have enough money for this part. So you finally get through that. And then what you realize you don't really have money for is submissions to film festivals. Every festival, there's just a fee. Then what if you get accepted? Now you got to buy flights. Who of the cast and crew are you going to pay for to go out there? Leads. Oh, the film festival called back. They're not going to show it off a Blu-ray, or that you need an HD cam. That's a couple, that could be $1,000 per transfer. Maybe you should have postcards and hand them out on the street to fill up your premiere at that film festival. So there's thousands of dollars right there just getting accepted to a film festival to do it right, because you got to fill every seat in there, especially if you're not sure if you're going to draw the critics that you've been reaching out to, or Variety. So you want this grassroots feeling, and that still costs money. I think there's a myth out there about self-distribution. In the end, it's more work and it's the same amount of money, and you're raising it yourself, than getting a distributor or a sales rep to buy your film. That torments me too. People thinking that, work so hard, get a film made, bad or good, they're going to find out the hard way. Self-distribution as well, it's a very difficult road, and that costs a lot of money.
Now, has Netflix changed how it works at all? Because I noticed, do they buy movies from independent filmmakers, or do they go through?
They're starting to directly to stream, but here's the business model's changed so much. If you're going to sell to Netflix, you're not going to have a residual. That's anything serious of what it used to be. Think of when we grew up. You went to theaters. From theaters, you went to a syndicate cable, an HBO, a Cinemax, then you got a licensing to regular TV.
I went to VHS when I was
VHS, DVD. So you had all these streams of revenue. Today, you don't get into a festival. It's a decent film. Someone will watch it, but you didn't get into a festival. You have no notoriety. No one's buying DVDs except in third world markets and overseas markets. So is someone going to press you? What they do is bundle it together with 10 films and sell it off to a territory, press a couple DVDs. If you deal directly with Netflix to a regular distributor, that'd be the last place you'd want to be, because that's it. The cash flow's done, unless it's a really large film. As an independent filmmaker, you're not going to make those residuals. You want the chance to at least, if not be in a micro theater, skip that and you're going to go right to stream. That's the last place you want to be, but there's a catch-22. What if you know you can't sell it, you have no other avenue? The last thing you want to do is not have anyone see your movie. You might have to do it. You have to make the deal. You made a $20,000 horror film, and people are only offering you $5,000 for it, and 30% on the back end, which will never show up, regardless of what the movie makes. So take the $5,000, have a deep conversation with your investors, make sure people see the movie. Don't shelf it for a couple years, because you lose momentum. And then you should go on to your second project, double the budget. So that's the hard realities of filmmaking, is how are you going to get people to see it? It could be cruel, but the Pennsylvania Film School was an apparatus we wanted to create at least to help people navigate through that, because it's scary.
Okay, now I also wanted to ask you about the fundraising aspect of this. How helpful are the GoFundMe campaigns and the different campaigns that you can use to raise a budget for a movie?
They were, I would like to say, this is just my opinion, this can't not even be fact, from my observation of being part of some, seeing the success, they were very exciting when it started. It's kind of hit a wall in the sense for the little guy. Canyon a movie, the Lindsay Lohan movie. That was a Kickstarter campaign. It was a success. So you're competing now with draws, A-list, B-list people making their own films. They're starting Kickstarter campaigns. That's a hard, hill to climb to get your fundraising done on a GoFundMe. So it's just about the same. The thing that's really nice about it, if you really have a real idea of what your budget's going to be and you could achieve it, that's great. It's not an investment. The quickest road is to get an investor or self-finance the film, which no one would tell you to do as a producer. But we're building a business model, a new one, here, this film we're doing now, that could skip the crowdfunding, skip the investor apparatus. We have enough equipment, gear, and talent. We're going to make equity films. It's like socialism.
Okay.
For filmmaking. Everyone shares not points, but actual tangible equity in the LLC. And if we could get it down to 2 weeks, we sell it. Now we could give up our rights for $10,000, $20,000. And the end game is you do a couple of those straight to stream, you go to Netflix and Crackle and say, give me $100,000, give me $200,000, I'll give you 10 films this year. And that's the Roger Corman approach of what drive-in movies used to be. That's where Netflix is the venue. It's the new drive-in theater for those movies.
Okay. So what's the cheapest budget you've seen what you would consider a decent movie made on?
It's wow. It's just, there was a great movie a couple of years ago, not Signal, the big Signal. There was a Signal made in Atlanta, and it was made for about, I don't know, $15,000. They say 20, but I could even look at it and say 5. It was a great film. It had 3 directors. They broke the movie down into kind of 3 sequences. You can see the tone and style change, and that was a wonderful film. It was creative filmmaking, and a lot of exterior shots at night for available light. You could see where they took the script and took a producer's hat and said, we can't shoot that at night, we can't afford the lighting. And they would change scenes. And for a producer, that's an inspiring film. The old one to always go to is Reservoir Dogs, and that was still on film, one location. If we have a couple days left, we'll shoot some car scenes or something, that extra stuff. But as a producer, my suggestion of it, if you've got a cheap or low budget, I don't care if it's $1,000, $500, if it's $20,000, if it's $100,000, limit your company moves. Make some concessions. I hate seeing writer-directors attach so much to the material that they don't even let their own film be produced.
Now, when you say company moves, would you say with a move from Scranton to Wilkes-Barre or something like that? Would that be?
Yeah, I've done it, and given the chance, if it's needed for the content, it's needed. But, it was tougher than you think, because now you're filling 2 trucks. Say you have a 3-ton grit package. Well, the fuel's $100 in there. Now I got to it's not 20 minutes away. In film terms, it's 3 hours away. I got to get talent there. Talent doesn't come to set right away. They're still at the hotel. I get the grips down there. They load up. I got to feed them down there. Now I might have to use a different craft vendor. After everyone settles in and feeds, your first shot, and if they're quick, won't be up for 3-4 hours. After we just left the location, we could have stayed at, maybe got more content or material right there. Once you start loading trucks and resetting up, that's where you're going to be spending a lot of money.
You hear that, folks? I'm giving you the inside scoop on what it takes to make it happen. So let me ask you, said this is an ad company now, so what's the big thing going on here? Like what's the main business here in the Scranton office now?
Well, we're fortunate. We fought hard the last 5 years. Our business model was to get, companies that were out of the area. Keep the overhead of Scranton, because I love living here. But it's a grind to get local advertising here. To retain the staff, which you just saw out there, we need more than what kind of the area would be offering. And we've been fortunate enough to have a few clients that we act as a boutique to, political and private, where a lot of our messaging is persuasive for renewable energies, democratic initiatives, and we keep messaging out there. So we've been fortunate, and we worked hard. My staff did. They're the real talent behind me.
Okay.
I'm the guy that gets to sit at an interview.
Yeah, I see you have a great staff out there. They seem very attentive. Like you did a a lot of recruiting.
Yeah, we've been working together a long time. I'm really lucky.
You feel full of knowledge, man. Like you just been absorbed in this entertainment world. Well, I know for me, it's part of who I am. Like it's part of my fabric of my person. When they say rock and roll, it's not just like it's really me. So I mean, I've done a lot of research on you. I know Forged. I've watched it on Cinemax. Was that something that you were able to do yourself, or that the people you sold the movie to actually got it? And what was that feeling when you seen it come on Cinemax? What did that feel like when somebody called you and say, "Yo, Joe, the movie's on Cinemax"?
It's strange. It was great, no doubt about it, and it was because of all the people involved. Like, not one man could make a film, and that film was made in a traditional aspect: departments, grips. So we had a full infrastructure of a film on a low budget. It's funny, I finally get a movie on Cinemax with Forged, and it's like bittersweet. They were the avenues when you were a kid that was just dynamite. Now there's so many.
Yeah.
But it still felt great. I mean, I would stay up to watch movies like that, sneak back down. So yeah, there was a little sentiment, and I'm not much of a sentimental person, but yeah, it was great.
You got anything coming out? You got anything going to be out in theaters or on TV anytime soon?
No. We worked on a film with John Kilker 2 years ago. He's making a deal right now. Great movie. Production value was great. It was the most organized film I ever worked on. I was a line producer, co-producer with Christian Hudenbeck and John Kilker. John's in LA now, but John was great to work with. Very organized. Very planned, calculated. He knew what a crew has to do to make a movie as a director, and that's rare. So the schedules were ambitious, but they weren't crazy, because he knew every shot he wanted to get. So he's making a deal now to get his film out, and we're in pre-production for a horror movie in Long Island that'll start production in October.
Now, you don't storyboard a movie like you do a music video, do you?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you'll be in big trouble if you don't. Now, I've been part of both. I've been on all kinds of shoots, really bad shoots, really good shoots. Storyboards help, especially if you're going to have a very large crew, because I don't want to be a producer on a film where a director's picking a shot after the day of that scene. That's going to scare me. I definitely don't want to be the line producer on that and lacing the budget. I want to see storyboards as crude or as elaborate as they can be. We have to know and plan those days, because if there's 2 light setups, even in the same room, that's a long time. I don't mind improvisation on set, but go in there with a plan. You can only improvise if you're departing from a plan well. So that's when I think improvisation for actors or the crew or shots really works well, when we have to depart and get creative from something that was planned that won't work.
Okay.
But storyboards, I honestly believe in them. Or you're not a filmmaker, really, in the sense, what's your medium? You're just going to show up and
start
plan it.
Okay.
I got to know where these lights are going to be. How long is it going to take to set this up? Actors, what is their frame of the narrative? Because the world ends there. The only thing that makes the world bigger beyond that frame is noise. So that's a Foley artist to do that. But other than that, that's where the scene's happening. Tell us where it is 2 months out before we get there. We'll go on a location scout. You could take pictures. There's apps now that you could change to a 25 millimeter lens to a 70. Take the picture. And this is the easiest way to storyboard. Take your phone out and take a picture. And we'll frame it. And we'll just put it on the day schedules. This is going to be the story. This is what this scene is. It's easy stuff today. The technology makes it a lot easier.
Okay, well, I was definitely, because I've done music videos, and I'm a terrible artist, but I sit there and draw stick pencils, and but I like to take in the pictures things, and just trying to give you guys an idea of what it takes from start to finish, some of the small details that you might overlook that you might not take into consideration, give you an opportunity to understand exactly what it does take. It's been an excellent opportunity to talk to you, man. I got so much stuff I wanted to ask you about. A half hour is definitely not enough time, and hopefully at some point we can get back together again and go over some more stuff. You said you're in post-production on a film right now. What's going on with that?
Our part's over. Mark Denenbaum from 25/8 is finishing the sound passes on John Yancondi's film Susquehanna, which was an interesting project. He did a throwback. He shot it on VHS as the medium and told the story through a point of view of a 12-year-old kid coming to age.
A little outside of the city, right?
Yeah, mostly in Pittston. John worked on Forge. He's worked on a lot of commercials with us. John is out in L.A. Very talented guy. That was fun because it was a throwback to why we all got involved in film. We went out and just shot a really guerrilla film.
I got to I see a little bit of it in the sound. He was working with Jimmy Reynolds on the sound over 25/8. He's awesome.
Good guys.
And I just love it, the context of it. It was just really smooth.
Yeah.
It just kind of relaxed you a little bit. You just kind of felt like sitting down in a chair and going, let me watch this.
It's a narrative told by, if you went into any house here and popped in someone's VHSs and saw their memories spied on it, well, John took it and made it 3 acts, and you could watch a narrative as if you just popped in someone's VHS, and it's hard material. There's some gritty stuff in there, but it was so interesting. I was like, and I owe John a favor.
Was it cheaper to shoot it with the VHS, or was it about the cost? Did that help the budget, or was the cost still about the same?
No, the cost was low. John self-financed the film, and we came in as just a partner to provide equipment. Voyager Video did. Dave Crigliano and Lindsay Barace came in. Lindsay and Dave really were the meat and potatoes of that crew. And we're training a lot of people that didn't have enough experience on film. So it was an ambitious shoot. For 2 weeks, they shot a lot of, I think they captured, in 2 weeks, they captured a feature film. Nice. On VHS, which they had to transcode. And so,
well, I definitely got an idea of what you were saying about the budget and needing stuff once it's done, because the other stuff he's doing to get that film together. But that'll be out soon. Susquehanna. Make sure you go on Facebook and check out John Yancondi and look at the Susquehanna film. It'll be coming out soon. And go on to the Joe Van Wee JVW page and investigate that thoroughly. You want to go through that real good and check out all the different options that's available to you if you wanted to get Joe to help you out with a project. All right? Thank you for joining us this week on Northeast Current. It's been a pleasure to have Mr. Joe Van Wee, award-winning filmmaker and Scranton resident proud, like me. Go Knights. And we'll see you guys next week. All right? Northeast Current.